What's up, Eco Modders? VR Mousy D15B. This is my pinion out of my HX, VX, whatever, Tranny. This has the 3 1/4 final drive. And today I'm going to put my LSD block in there. So this guy is going to go in here. Just for shits and giggles. Okay. I'm going to put it together and show how it would sit in the stock orientation. The way it sits stock is something very much like this. And this is the worst part of the whole bit, is putting this last guy in, because that holds that top gear up. You turn the whole bit 90 degrees, and then this pin, everything rides on that pin through the center. The idea is that this side, from here down, the passenger side drive shaft is primarily driven through the transmission. This side, going up from this pin, is the driver's side. That's the longer drive shaft. That's where they want the torque to go, yeah, right. Okay, so if I guide this guy through just enough, here we go. What would happen is this. As the transmission turns the pinion, inside of course, from this point down is the passenger side, which is the shortest distance off the transmission, is the primary drive wheel. Okay, and in instances where there's high load, blah blah whatever, you dump the clutch, this guy spins on top, and he spins. This is the driver's wheel. This is the drive shaft that feeds the driver's side wheel. He can spin independently of the main drive gear and the passenger wheel. So what the LSD does is it gets in this void in here. This pin will go directly through the LSD block, and this gap that you see, there are actually 4 springs at either 4 corners of this setup. And see that little block lock? When you put it in, you pull this guy off, and then the springs will separate inside. It'll put tension. There's flies in my garage. It'll put tension up here to where this gear will follow this gear a whole lot more. You'll be able to get torque on both wheels, and you'll reduce your torque steer. So what needs to be done to make this happen is, of course, you got to go on the internet and you got to buy this. For the Honda Civics, this is what I'm talking, this is what I'm working. It's cheap as far as things go. If you're inside the transmission, you're spending 120 bucks on bearings, somewhere close to that. This costs about the same. I would do it anytime you're in there, just because it's so freaking cool. It feels awesome when you get on it and it doesn't pull, it just pulls straight. It doesn't pull one way or the other. This is the trick. This is already in my other transmission that I built for the car that I'm currently driving. Okay, so these are the gears that sit on either side, and they ride with the pin through it here, across the center. Here's your pin. And these gears sit inside and interlock on top. And the LSD locks everything tighter to where they have to carry each other for the most part. Everything has already been brake cleaned. Everything has already been prepped. The only thing outside of getting this block, of course, that you have to do is, this is the top and the bottom gear. Okay, you see the distance here from these splines. On my LX Tranny, I actually had to grind to where the splines actually start. I had to take maybe another 1/16 off. I just did this with a flap wheel grinder. I did the last one with a 4-inch grinder. It's pretty true. I set this guy on here. He doesn't really wobble around. It sits real nice. It rides pretty nice as far as things go. That's that. So once it's all put back together, there's a washer that rides on the underside of this. He goes on the bottom. The twin, the mate, goes on the top. The washer in that goes on the top side of the whole deal. Those two you put in first, and you got to hold the top one. You see my finger? I'm holding the top one up. Now that I hold the top one up, I can put this gear in the front. And then I'm going to put the other gear in the back. And they have to be straight across from each other. If you're a half a tooth off, it won't sit right. Your pin won't go through, and it'll fight you all the way. Don't fight it. It should go nice and easy as far as things go. So here's my block. Now my block is sitting in place. Here's my pin. See this? I didn't mention to take it apart. This pin is recessed through this bolt. It's not a bolt. And there's the keyhole. So I have to go this way. I have to index everything. I actually am going to pull this block back out and use my finger to line up the washer. Now the washer's lined up. I'm past the washer. Slide the block back in. There we go. Now I'm through the block, through the second gear. Come on. And now I'm hung up on that last washer. There it is. There it is. So now, gotta take a hammer. Here we go. And seat this pin. Now that that's seated, I want him just slightly recessed. That's how it was when I found it. That's how it's going to be when I put it back together. Bear with me, 2 more taps, and I'll show you. That's the pin that you got to push out. The way I do it is in the most unorthodox way possible. On the back side of this final drive gear, here's the hole that pin goes through. I don't have a drift punch long enough, so I cheated. I actually took, sorry guys, I actually took a nail, a big long framing nail, ran it through the hole, hit it with the hammer, bam, bam, bam. Next thing you know, the pin is sticking out on the other side. So here we're in the home stretch. Now what I got to do is just pop this block off, and that's actually easier said than done when you're trying to do it on camera. But that's 1, that's 2, and now I have limited slip differential in my Honda Civic 3 1/4 final drive transmission. There it is. Now this top, like I was showing you in the beginning of the video, here's my pin that rolls through. From here down, from this gear down, that's locked solid from the factory, bolted on, welded. It will not give. From here up, now you have to overcome the torque generated by the springs inside here that make these gears push and give spin. See, I cannot spin this gear on the top side now. Maybe I'll try with a screwdriver just to show. It ain't going. I have limited slip. That's that. VR Mousy. Thank you.